My name is Bleez. We're here to talk about this crazy crypto world, and we're asking a crazy, crazy question today. Can Bitcoin be hacked? That's the question. Van Eck, which is, as you guys may or may not know, a very large investment firm, Jan Van Eck, who is the president and CEO and founder of Van Eck, has advised that he is now considering moving out of Bitcoin. Already, we just got started, but he's already considering moving out of Bitcoin because of the inherent risks that are happening right now with quantum computing. Is Bitcoin going to be safe? And he's giving about 1 year for Bitcoin developers to improve the security of the SHA-256 algorithm before he is going to pull out of Bitcoin and no longer hold on to the 1 or 2 Bitcoin that he currently has. I don't know if this is a major thing, but when one of these investment firms starts to come at Bitcoin in some way, asking these types of questions, then that does lead to an underlying sentiment among other people that there might be an issue or concern or a problem or something along those lines. So I don't know how that's going to play out, but you know, this is it's certainly an interesting take, and we're going to try to figure it out. We're going to try to figure it out. By the way, if anybody here knows how to run OBS, I'm going to be looking for a new, I guess I should go ahead and give the announcement today. Tomorrow, I will be meeting with some people about this channel and about further management of the channel, a pivot of sorts, stuff like that, because we need more people paying attention. And in order to get more people paying attention, then I need to be told what to do, because I'm just the handsome man candy that drives the channel. I'm not the brains of this operation and the thinker, if you will. So that being said, there might be some pivots that are a little bit different than what we're dealing with right now. So stick around with me because I think you're going to be excited about all of the things that you're going to end up seeing as we develop, build, improve, mark up this channel, get it a little bit more traction, etc., etc., etc. So we're going to answer these questions. We're going to answer all that and more. But right now, the transition is I need to be able to pivot into a scene. So if anybody knows anything about OBS and how I can pivot into a scene in which, by the way, it's not ready yet, but pivot into a scene where I can do my intro one more time, I sure would appreciate it. In the meantime, make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already. And by the way, I stopped using, the reason that I'm bringing this up is I stopped using StreamYard. It's not worth paying $100 a month for StreamYard because it's not doing anything for me. It's not enhancing any experience or anything like that. And when I went to this long form content, it won't allow me to use OBS Studio in order to do my transition, so that, you know, when we're having a conversation, I can just click on a button right here and do this. Now I have to use their format. So I'm not really a fan of their format. So we're just going to leave them behind. Since we've gone portrait, I have been changing the way that I do stuff to the point that now I don't even log into StreamYard anymore. You know what I mean? Just don't even worry about it anymore. All right, so here we go. Let's break it out. And let's start off with Kobayashi, because 18 minutes ago, President Xi said U.S.-China trade relations maintain positive momentum after his call with President Trump this morning. He also adds that the U.S. and China should expand the list of cooperation. That is actually gigantic. Now, remember we talked about on Friday that, or maybe somebody had made a comment on Friday about the H20 chip from NVIDIA. This comes just minutes after news emerged that Trump is considering allowing NVIDIA to sell advanced AI chips to China. So just so you guys understand, what was happening was there was, I think it's called an H20, something like that. It's the newest design for NVIDIA. Now, there is a rule that prevents NVIDIA from selling their most their highest throughput chip to China. They have to use a reduced one, which causes China to buy more. Well, Donald Trump then banned NVIDIA from selling these AI chips to China for a little while. And in the meantime, Huawei stepped up and came up with a similar version to the H20 that runs just as fast. It's not better, but it's as fast, limiting the need for China to continue to buy from NVIDIA. This was not a great sign. Now, NVIDIA did report $55 billion, $55 billion in earnings, massive amount of money coming into NVIDIA. But again, not part of China. So if China were reopened and they were serious about buying NVIDIA chips, then you could see NVIDIA continue to break out and continue to lead the S&P to higher highs. And then that in turn drives AI in crypto, that drives RWA in crypto as adoption continues. Also, it should be noted, there was a report that came out that said that China is now number 3 in the world in Bitcoin mining, meaning that a banned entity is still mining tons of Bitcoin. And China, for some reason, really not going after these people, not really doing anything about it. So it makes you wonder, is China really banning crypto? Could they be lifting that ban coming very, very, very soon? Anyway, moving on, we're just asking that question right now. But they had the phone call this morning, NASDAQ 100 starting to move. In fact, when we were looking at it a few moments ago, the Dow Jones was up just a little bit on the day, about 100 points, down to 62 points right now. But the total crypto market cap, which had also been sinking just a little bit, starting to move towards that upside down, 1.6 billion on the day. Now, if you guys see that the lines right there, I'm not done with this right now, but I thought, and let me remove this because I want you guys to get a pure idea of what I'm talking about right here. You see those green and red lines right there? So what I've done is I have developed my own algorithm here of I don't have it right yet, by the way. I just want you guys to see it, that if there's an impulse move, the average amount of the impulse move would be up to the line that I'm showing you right now. The green line being the upside and the red line being the downside. So if there's an impulse move in the market, then that would be the expected range of an impulse move. Same thing over here with Bitcoin. Not as great, by the way. I'm not a fan of it. What I did was I linked it to the last candle, the most recent candle right here. And as the candle moves up and down, it oscillates to let you know like what position you should expect. Like if you're looking at downside momentum, if we're going to go down, we would probably get a bounce right now at 84,176. That's not exactly how I wanted it to work. So it's not working exactly like I want yet, but I am working on it right now. I've got it in Pine Editor and I'm trying to develop this thing. And I've called it the Bitcoin average daily high-low lines right now because I don't have it finished, but I wanted to come up with something that would help for us to just kind of get an idea. Where is the open? I want it to be attached to the open price. So in this context, if we're looking at it, the open price for the day is 86,362. No, open is 86,851. And what I did is I took the average value on the moves for the last 300 days, and then I compiled that, and then I took the average of the last 30 days and turned that into a 75% priority for a quote-unquote weight, and it gave me that Bitcoin moves an average of 3.42% per day. This candle length right here is an average of 3.42. You go like this and you pull it up here, that's 3.8. This one is on a slow day 2.7, and it's just the entire movement of an average Bitcoin candle on an average Bitcoin day. That's all I'm doing, so that I have an idea of what the pivot high and what the pivot low is on each daily time frame. Or if I wanted to, we could do it on the 1 hour time frame, making it a little bit simpler to figure out. And as you can see right here, it's just really kind of sitting right in the middle. So it's not moving. It's not doing exactly what I want it to do. So I'm working on this as I go. So you guys, I'm about to have my own, you know, as a matter of fact, let's go, if you guys want to see what I'm doing here, we're going to go over here, and we're going to use Grok. We're going to use Grok right here. Okay, so, okay, I want it anchored to the daily open so that it doesn't oscillate all day long. What I did originally was I anchored it to the daily candle, and now it's going to give me the actual program. So once this is imported, then it might change a little bit. I'm not sure yet. Every time I do it, there's always a problem. But you guys, today, this is your day to see behind the scenes. So we're going to paste that in, and we're going to update it on the chart. We're going to look for errors. There is an error, no viable alternative at character. Okay, so we're going to copy that. Line, no, we're going to do line 31 error. And then in quotations, we're going to put the error. And now it's considering what the error is and trying to fix it. And then once that's done, there we go. So we're going to copy that. And then we're going to paste that in. And before we do, we're going to delete. And then we're going to paste. And then we're going to update on the chart. And then we've got a syntax error at line without continuation on line 46. All right, so here we go back over, line 46 error. By the way, if you don't use Grok or ChatGPT for programming, man, and this is PineScript v5. So it's familiar. Like if you ever decide that you want to create your own indicator of some sort, which is what I'm attempting to do right now, create my own indicator here, then there we go. Okay, so I think that that's got it right now. So, okay, now let's move back over here to the daily, and let's see what this looks like. Is it continuing to move while the price moves? No. Okay, so here we go. All right, now I think I've got it. I think I've got it right. So what we have now is I have a from the open of every day, there will be a potential pivot for the average range of Bitcoin going up and down per day. If we hit the bottom, then it should be noted that the most likely scenario for a play out is that it's going to reverse and go in a specific direction based on where it opens up for the day. So that's what we're looking for. That's what we want to see, right? We want to see and have the ability to figure out what is our range for the day. Now, the reason that we want to do this is because if I'm right about this, and I have no reason to think that I'm right yet because I haven't put any additional parameters, this was just getting this right, okay? But if we buy when we hit this zone, chances are we're going to hit this zone next. So, and that, by the way, there's no science to that. Again, this is all reading tea leaves, you know, so I have no idea whether or not that will or will not work. I'm just letting you guys know that as I'm going through this, I'm working my way into it. Then what we're going to look for is we're going to look for bearish momentum. We're going to look for RSI momentum, and then we're going to start making predictions. And I'm going to turn this into a predictor of exactly what the move is going to be each day in crypto. And then we're going to update you every morning to let you know what I think is getting ready to happen in the market, or we're going to use it at the nightly trading, because market ends at 6 p.m. So if we go live around 6:01, guess what? We're going to have an open, and we'll have an idea of what the entire range of crypto is going to be. So what I'm going to do for a while is I'm going to take that pivot low, and I'm going to set a buy order every day, and then I'm going to set a sell order for the top of that range, and then see, can we hit that entire range for the day, and could we scalp this market? And in the event that we are bullish and we're looking for bullish confirmation and we're starting to see maybe a flow on the MACD back towards the upside, that maybe we'll go long. And if we're in the deep green, like for example, where are we at here? Over here, when we're in the green like this, we're going to set a range up at the top to go to the pivot low. And if we're in the red down here, we're going to set a range to go to the pivot high. So just an idea for a strategy. So I'll let you know whether it happens or not. So now the question of the day is Bitcoin in real danger of being hacked? Okay, so Jan Van Eck. And this is where the article came. Van Eck has put Bitcoin on watch as quantum concerns intensify. Bitcoin's long-term security model and its place in the coming decade are once again a hot topic after Van Eck CEO Jan Van Eck raised concerns about whether the cryptocurrency's encryption is strong enough to withstand future advances in quantum computing. Speaking on CNBC, Van Eck said the question quietly became one of the most important internal discussions in the Bitcoin community. By the way, do you know why we know that it's an important discussion in the Bitcoin community? Because this shit right here. Because Zcash is going out of its mind right now, just having an absolute banger blow off sort of date. Like look at this price action. We've gone from Zcash being at like $20, $30, $40 to over $750. This is Bitcoin OGs coming into a project and trying to escape from what they think might be a concern. So now the question is, can Bitcoin, quote unquote, get back on track so that it's not it's not doing whatever this is, whatever's giving Zcash all of that excitement right now and all that steam. By the way, if you're looking for an entry position on Zcash, I would implore you not to go right now until it comes back down to about the $300 range. And by the way, that is an estimate. That is not me telling you that I think that it's going to bounce off of 300, but that is where it reached a previous top. That is, if you were to look at it from Fibonacci, probably a pretty, what they call juicy entry position right here. I didn't put that to the top. If I put that up to the top right there, then guess what? You're sitting right there, basically at the 618. So 300 as an entry position for Zcash, probably a really good spot. So if you're curious about entering, $300, probably going to be a pretty good spot for a significant bounce. But anyway, so Van Eck explained that although Bitcoin continues to attract global liquidity and holds a strong position in diversified portfolios, many longtime Bitcoiners are actively exploring alternatives for enhanced privacy. According to him, Bitcoin OGs and maxis have been drawn towards Zcash as they search for stronger transactional privacy. Now, here's the reason that this matters, right? You cannot track Zcash, but you can track Bitcoin, and you can't track somebody just because they have a wallet. You can only do it when you know what their wallet is. But, obviously we know what Sailor's wallet is. So we're tracking every Sailor wallet that we can find. We don't know all of them, and he's refused to reveal them for privacy concerns. But once you've established over time what these Bitcoin wallets are, or what these Ethereum wallets are, once you've established who these people are, and once you've figured it out, now that person is no longer private. Everything that they are doing is in the public domain and publicly tracked. Like, for example, James Wynn. For those of you that don't know, James Wynn, a trader, probably made a ton of money, loses tons of money constantly. Andrew Tate loses tons of money constantly by continuing to try to long Bitcoin despite telling everybody it's going to 20,000. These guys are now getting subject to ridicule because they let their wallets be exposed to the public, and now they're tracked by Arkham Intelligence and different sites so that you can I don't even know how to explain it at this point. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't even know how to explain it at this point, other than to say that these guys are their privacy has been invaded. Okay, their privacy has been invaded. So, we'll see whether or not they rip into Zcash and continue this move or not. But in the meantime, $300 for Zcash, pretty good entry position if you're looking. Anyway, so BlackRock clients don't see Bitcoin as payments, and that's important to note as well. Look, there is no mechanism, by the way. If you want to trade a store of value in that you want to trade Bitcoin, sure. But as money goes, I don't think that Bitcoin represents an opportunity for monetary transaction. Not at the current level, and not right now. The money in Bitcoin, to be fair, would be Satoshis. So I think we're gonna, I think that at some point, Satoshis will become our means of currency if Bitcoin is on that menu. I think stablecoins obviously are the preferred method because it's easy and it's pegged to $1. But in the event that we were to do something and we were to improve, say, the Lightning chain or something like that to make it faster, the Lightning network most likely, which by the way is being developed and enhanced by Coinbase at this point, the Lightning network would be the place where maybe you convert it to Satoshi as opposed to Bitcoin or a secondary currency number of Satoshis, and then you're trading Satoshis or something like that, or sats. Not sure exactly what it's going to be, but I mean, again, like, you know, and by the way, you're not walking into the store trading gold either. So when I say this, consider gold to be the same as Bitcoin without the digital network, right? And if that's the case, then gold, you don't trade gold for gold. You trade gold for money. So Bitcoin, Satoshis, most likely. My opinion. Anyway, so is quantum computing going to be a problem? Yes. Is quantum computing going to hack Bitcoin? The answer to that is probably no. Probably going to use quantum computing to protect Bitcoin as well before too long. I think that there's going to be a real test right now of the markets to make sure that Bitcoin is as safe as can be possible. People like Michael Saylor, people like Strategy, all of these different companies, I'm sure they are working overtime right now to figure out what that solution would look like and then to bring it to people and validators in order to make that an upgrade and to make that happen. So we shall see what we shall see. All right. So Morgan Stanley had an interesting take, though, on the AI bubble fears. Any weakness in the short term is an opportunity to add long exposure in 2026. So to give you an idea here, there is now a kick this down the road appeal to all of these markets to 2026. And that means that we're weak right now. It means that, you know, there's people going to be accumulating, all right? Any weakness in the short term is an opportunity to add long exposure into 2026. What are they telling you? They're telling you to buy the dip. That's just a different way of saying buy the dip. Morgan Stanley is now calling for a 1,000 point rally in the S&P over the next 12 months to 7,800. Use the volatility to your advantage. Okay, tech's $380 billion splurge. This week's winners and losers of the AI spending boom. Look, going down the list, everybody is throwing their money at AI. They're all going in heavy. NVIDIA, massive, massive profit. Is the company under or overvalued? Now, some people, especially in a risk market, are saying that it's overvalued. And that's why there's been sell-off. But at the end of the day, is it really in that zone? I don't think that the answer is yes. I don't think it's overvalued. I think if anything right now, it's going to be undervalued because we haven't even seen the dawn of AI taking over businesses, taking over the way that we conduct all of our business. We haven't simplified this process yet. We have AI assistants. By example, I just showed you me setting up a program. I can't program in Pine Edit, but I just created my own crypto tracking thing. So, you can make whatever you want using AI. And at some point, that's going to really, really, really matter. So I feel like these markets are going to get real interesting as AI starts to take over. Imagine AI becomes the manager of a facility. Imagine that AI becomes part of the robotics industry, and we now have AI robotics that are moving. You probably need maintenance and stuff like that, obviously. But just imagine, if you will, all of these different changes and quote unquote upgrades and or downgrades, as it may be. I don't know exactly what they're going to do and how that's going to work. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know how this ultimately ends. I think that it's going to end pretty well. I think that it will. But who the hell knows? All right, now, bull market indicators, nothing has been hit. Now, I did see a post the other day. We talked about this on Friday, so I want to come back and I want to redress what we talked about on Friday. Dr. Profit Crypto, he said that he doesn't think that any of these matter anymore. And that's just not true, okay? That's just not true. That does not mean, by the way, that he's not 100% right about what he's saying about the trajectory of the market, except to say that at this point, he says, and his estimation is that we have entered the bull market or the bear market, and that we are going to see a continued move down until October of 2026. So that means that he thinks that no matter what the M2 money supply is, that no matter how much money the government is printing, no matter how much quantitative easing, no matter how much anything that everybody does in these markets right now, it's already done for the crypto, not for everything, but for crypto, that we just are not going to get an altcoin season, that we are just not going to get a Bitcoin run up to 150,000. He's one of the very few people at this point, by the way, calling this a bear market, but it is a growing group of people. In fact, if you look around, and it's been the thesis for a lot of different people. So when you're looking around for information, Crypto Banter was on a little while ago. George was on a little while ago. Last bunch of days, all of these guys have been talking about we are going into a bear market. That you know, maybe it's over, maybe it's blah 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 blah. That there's a lot of different stuff. You know, well, I don't think so. I just don't see it. And by the way, most of the big tech companies, they don't see it either. Why do they not? Because they're the ones that have the money. We are out here trying to read the tea leaves and figure out what they're doing with the money. And then the people with the money are like, you know what? It's not done yet. We got more money to make here. And by the way, I just want you to consider something. If you knew Bitcoin was going from 125,000 down to 75,000, why would you still be buying at 90,000? Why would you still be buying at 100,000? Why would you still be buying at, what were we at today? 86,000? Why would you be buying at 86,000 today? Wouldn't you just be waiting for the market to dip? Wouldn't you? I mean, you might say, well, yeah, but I'm DCAing, you know, just in case and stuff like that. Well, that's fair enough, but I don't think that you're paying attention if that's the case, because if you're doing that, then you're looking for the price to go back up, right? You're not looking for the price to go back down. Let's say that Dr. Profit is right, that it's going down to 75. Set your buy orders for 75 and don't do anything else. Don't buy until it gets there, because if you buy at 86,000, you're just driving the price back up by creating demand. So why would these goblins be doing that? So the answer to that is very, very simple. It's probably, if it goes to, and by the way, it could very well go to 75,000. I'm not saying it won't. It could also go to 60,000, could also go to 50, it could go to zero. But I don't think the likelihood exists, okay? There's too much accumulation right now of institutional investors and nation states and governments and all of these different places, these gigantic tech companies. Everybody's getting into Bitcoin. They're adding it to their books, okay? We've passed the Rubicon in terms of massive dumps in the market. All of these companies are not out here to get wrecked. Remember, the wealth transfer is from me and you to them, okay? And if them is still buying a bunch of Bitcoin, them is deciding that the market is going to go up. Now, if they're deciding that the market is going to go up, why aren't you? That's the question for you to ask yourself. And by the way, I am not telling you that I'm right about this. I'm not telling you that, you know, when I say I'm always right, I mean, guys, look, I'm guessing just like anybody else. But realistically, what are you told to do when we talk about investing? Do what the wealthy people do. Do what the big money does. What is the big money doing right now? The big money is accumulating. They already think the bottom of whatever cycle we're in is here. They already think that it's here. So what's going to end up happening next? That's the question on everybody's mind, and nobody knows the answer, but I think that we're on our way back up, okay? So just consider that. Now also consider TerraCasino.io for all your risk-based gaming needs. We've been giving away money from TerraCasino.io, so if you want to earn $50, create a username. So we'll see what happens with that. You know, create a username, and let's, by the way, they had a free poker tournament last night. If anybody won, put it in the comment section down below if you participated and or won. Also, if you're trading meme coins, terraport.finance for all your risk-based gaming needs. Dev ecosystem. We don't have anything really new to talk about there. Fear and Greed Index. Boom, boom, boom. 19 right now after a run. Real deep. Looks like we're about to pull out of extreme fear into fear. The last time we did this, by the way, I do want to say, like, when we look at this on a yearly chart and we look at the last time we came down this deep, we had a nice big run all the way back up before this big dump. But if you look, before we did that, which I can't get this because the goddamn thing's in the way, we ran up to about 50, which is right here on this chart right here, between this 20 and 50, and then we rejected and came back down. I would suspect that the same thing is going to happen when we get to 50 again. So I don't think that we don't have a complete rally on. If Bitcoin rallies to about 90, where did I? God, you know what? I think I removed it. Son of a bitch. Okay, so if Bitcoin rallies up above around 91,400. If we rally around 91,400 and we get through this little range right here, then I think a significant rally is going to be on. Okay. I do think that we would have a significant rally from there, but I don't know. I'm guessing a close above 91,400 would, in my estimation, establish a more bullish momentum. All of this chop and trading right there and all of that support right there has to mean something. So again, if we break a little bit higher and we get a breakout from there, then, we're probably going to surge to a new all-time high, and the bull run would be reconfirmed. If we don't break above 91.4 and establish 91.4 as a floor again, then we could have a problem. All right, that's right. That's my operating thesis right now. So hopefully that's what we're going to end up seeing. But I mean, again, I don't know. These markets, these goblins, these ghouls, the whole idea right now is to steal from you. They want you to get shaken out. They want you to lose money because that's how they make money. And they're stronger at it than we are because they can tolerate the risk. You see your portfolio go down 50% and you say, I sold with a 50% loss because that's the smart thing to do. Thinking that it's never going to go back up or something like that. Or you just can't take seeing your money being down. And that's what they rely on. They rely on their ability to withstand pain much more than you can. And when that happens, they win, you lose. And we all lose, by the way. We all lose when that happens. So you get shaken out and the market, these goblins, these ghouls, these horrible people, they just steal from you. They just steal from you, man. Stop letting them do that. All right, so Bitcoin, let's talk about this range. We're going to go in here right now and look at it right there. Son of a bitch. You know what? I screwed up that Pine script already. God damn it. I got to fix it again. Anyway, it's going to be based on the 1 day. That's what I wanted it to be. Based on, because it was set on the 1 day, but when I move it to the 1 hour, it does the same thing, and it goes every one of these, I bet. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I got it right. Whoa. Isn't that what Joey Lawrence once said? Whoa. By the way, it was not right today. It was not right today. Not on that percentage. So on this one, it says, what is that? 86,985 on the daily. What does it say? 88,000. Yeah, it's not right. God damn it. It's based on every candle variable. Man, I tried. I was trying. Anyway, again, this is just the variance by candle. Maybe we could apply that to the 1 minute, to the 5 minute, to the hourly. Set this up for the 5 minute, but that's on the daily. So, son of a bitch, why is that? I don't know. I'm gonna figure this out, guys. I'm gonna figure it out. I believe it. I believe in my ability. By the way, if you haven't already, hit the like button on the way in. Also, I don't know at this point how to post this to, like, how do I get that? I forgot how to get comments up on the screen at this point. That kind of sucks. Anyway, I'll figure it out over the next day or two. Like, I'll get it right. I'll get it right. All right, so anyway, fear and greed index down low. Liquidity. Let's hit the refresh button here. We're doing this on the 24-hour right now, and that really looks like an upside move. That looks like a lot of liquidity kind of sitting in the ranges right now. All the way up to a little bit more than 88,000, with that top level being, what is that? 88,400-ish. So we'll see what happens over the day. As far as the ETFs go, let's see what we got. We had inflows, a total of 238 million for Ethereum. I mean, for Bitcoin. For the Ethereum ETF, we had an inflow, which is good to see. But 55 million. So we're at 12.66 billion that we're up right now. That's a big number, by the way. 12.66 billion is a pretty big number. Not as good as we hoped for. Not as good as we wanted it to be, obviously. But still, I mean, that's certainly not bad. And really navigating this has become a kind of a pain in the ass here. That's not really great. Huh. Solana had, by the way, just a record. Every single day, inflows. Every single day, inflows. Also, you know what? I should have pointed this out, and I didn't before. If you partake, then, boom. Dogecoin ETF is launching. Grayscale is the first to launch a Dogecoin ETF. It's going to be live for 2 days before another one. And by the way, it's called G-Dog for good dog. So, we now have our first Dogecoin ETF. It's getting wild out here, man. You've got XRP ETFs, you've got Dogecoin ETFs, you've got Ethereum, Solana, Bitcoin. You're going to have Link. You have Link pretty soon. You're going to have Cardano pretty soon. These ETFs are going to continue to rip at some point. So if you don't have any, you might want to grab yourself some Dogecoin just for whatever kind of relief rally you might get right there. Remember, the Doge people, man, they love their Dogecoin. They love their market, and it is sitting right now in the range of which, you know what, I'm going to turn this off until I can get this thing working the way that I want. Damn. I just did it for Bitcoin. I realized I should probably expand it to every other crypto possible and have it analyzed. God damn it. I'm working. It's a work in progress. Anyway, you're seeing a significant bounce, but the significant bounce that you're seeing off of the bottom of Dogecoin right now is just the basic market. You're not seeing at this point any kind of great performance based on the Dogecoin ETF. So again, sidelines. We're still kind of muted on the sidelines, waiting to see what's going to happen. Dow Jones, by the way, starting to surge right now, and that means that Bitcoin and crypto is now up positive on the day. Just a short while ago, by the way, let's go look at this candle. On this candle, the top of the market was 2.97 trillion, which is 40 billion higher than where we are right now. So we were up $40 billion on the day at some point, and now we are dead even and or coming down. But the Dow Jones is surging right now. I'm not sure exactly what's going on right there, but crypto is matching it, going up 5 points. Let's see what the Dow Jones, because I can't spell worth a shit. Dow Jones indexes rise to begin the holiday week. S&P rises as AI trade attempts a comeback. Okay, so AI is loading up right now. If AI is loading up right now, what I told you a couple days ago is probably true. Buy yourself a bag of Tau. If you got it off here at the bottom, down here at 260, then you're already up about 10-15%. So shout out to you. But it's not just Tau. Don't forget there's Fetch AI, which is currently up 1% on the day. There's ICP, which is currently up about 0.5% on the day. Matter of fact, the more I look at it, it looks like DeFi is having the breakout moment right now. Assemble Protocol is an AI, and it's up 2.5%, but it was up it was up big yesterday off of a big dip. So yeah, I don't see AI right now. I was wrong. It's not AI. What we're looking at is simple DeFi. We got Pendle as a lender. We've got API 3 up 1.5%. We got VeChain up 1%. HBAR had a nice little rip yesterday. And how do I know they had a little rip yesterday? Because sometimes I don't realize what people are doing. And where is it? I don't lean into something just because I want engagement. I put it that way. I do every once in a while. Let me rephrase that. Every once in a while I do, but as you can see, Classy Crypto is now just doing HBAR videos constantly. So HBAR must have an audience that pays attention. So HBAR, probably Ondo, Algorand. You know what I mean? Like whatever AJ's talking about. Leaning into probably what's going on right there. So, you know, I don't know. Amit says, what is your target entry on Monad? Let's go to Monad. And I don't know if I have it on my chart or not. All right, so here we are. Okay. I mean, anytime right now actually looks like it's a good entry. Son of a bitch. What's the drawdown off of this top? Drawdown's 85%. So I would say that right now is actually the perfect time to get in on Monad. When you have a drawdown of 85%, you tend to have a pretty significant reversal, as evidenced by Arbitrum. So we look at Arbitrum on that launch. Remember when it had that massive, massive launch? That drew down 93% before having a huge surge. You know what? I don't need that anymore. I don't know if that wick right there is actually... I don't know if that's real. Like, I don't... Man. Let's try... you know what? I don't want to use that. Because it's KuCoin. That's... You know what? I don't want to use that. Let me try this one more time. Arbitrum. We just want to use... Crypto. Arbitrum. Crypto. Right there. All right, now we're playing with power. There we go. All right, that's better. Okay, so from the top, and we're not using long days. We're just using the launch right here. That drew down 30% right there, and then there was the bottom. There was the bottom before the breakout. The bottom before the breakout, and then there's the top. Okay, so the drawdown for Arbitrum. Drawdown for Arbitrum was 60%. So, I'd say an 85% drawdown is probably a good thing. Janet Lachey says, do you think that SHIB still has hope? No. I don't talk about it for a reason, and it's because I'm not bullish on it anymore. I just don't... Listen, I'm not against SHIB. I'm not saying that we won't have another meme coin season. I'm not saying that there's not some opportunity for SHIB to have a mighty reversal. But, I mean... And we've been here before. We've been here before. Here's the problem, okay? The problem with SHIB is a fundamental problem. And the fundamental problem is it's a layer 2 on the Ethereum that nobody is even bothering to trade on. Okay? There's no real volume. Let's do this. Shibarium. We've had, here we go. Shibarium's transaction has fluctuated, showing a recent surge to 4,300. For the Shibarium ecosystem as a whole, the 24-hour trade volume is $16,000. Guys, there ain't no chain out here. Nobody gives a shit about SHIB anymore. It's over. Like, it's done. That doesn't mean that it won't come back. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have opportunity. But just at this point, there's absolutely no way. There's nothing that it's doing right now. We were wrong about SHIB is all I'm saying. Now, the other thing to consider is the Bone hack, because Bone got hacked, and or at least Shibarium got hacked, and Bone got dunked on. And where's Bone sitting right now? Actually, you know what? Let's go over here and look at Bone. Guys, this is a daily chart, by the way. Today, right now, Bone has never been lower. Now, I know people don't want to see that, and people don't want to talk about it, but it's never been lower. Never been lower. So look, I just don't see it anymore. I just don't see anything positive developing here. And I think that pretty soon you're probably going to see a lot of people in SHIB, if they haven't already, just kind of give up. They're going to give up for Doge ETF. They're going to give up for, if they're degens, they're going to give up for the Doge ETF. They're going to give up when Pepe pumps again, when Trump meme coin pumps again. I think SHIB is headed down, 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 down. But that is just my opinion, okay? I don't know that I'm going to be right or not. 24 hours, though, Urim is up a little bit. Everything else still getting kind of dumped on. XVM, I've exited my XVM position. I took my loss, took my lumps over here, and I'm out on this one. There just doesn't appear to be any upside for me on this. So I think that I'm gonna be done with it. And here's the transactions. Like there's just nothing there. And the people, by the way, that that were originally talking to me about it, like most of the time, they're not doing anything. They're not doing, like, it's just an empty chat channel with nobody doing anything in it. So yeah, we're done with that one. All right. So XCL is down another 20%. I don't know what that one's going to do, if anything. Right Wing has more liquidity than it has market cap. Fias is down 7% again. Guys, I gave you, by the way, the other day, I told you that, go back in right here. Remember Friday we were talking about it? And I was like, you know what? Come on, man. Like it's at 1,500 again. Get in. Guess what? It's up 15%. All of a sudden, went up to as high as 25%. So like I told you before, it's easy money. It's easy money. If you just follow the trend, when it goes to the bottom of this range, get in that 15 area, buy yourself some, and then just let it ride back up, and then sell you some at 2.1 cents, 2.2 cents. It's a scalp, but I mean, it's an easy one at this point. So, all right, all chains total value locked. This is an important number right here to look at for 24-hour DEX volume. 24-hour DEX volumes are down to $6 billion over the weekend. So retail right now, dead. Retail is dead. So market makers are about to start pumping the market. The one thing that you should be worried about right now is, do the market makers have the liquidity in order to start pumping the market? And the answer to that was a resounding yee a couple days ago. But I got a sense here and a feeling that we're about to start seeing a rapid move in cryptocurrency. We're about to see a rapid move in the rest of the markets. It looks like it wants to run. Dow Jones currently up 300 points on the day. Crypto in the positive right now, but when the U.S. market starts to make big moves and it's not followed by crypto, it usually means that there's a little bit of profit taking. By the way, again, when you're up $40 billion on the day, these ghouls and goblins, they will steal the liquidity out of the market, because that's who they are. It's what they do. Anyway, that's the show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Over the next couple days, you're going to see a lot of changes over here. We're going to be sticking with our partners. We're going to be sticking with our channel partners. But other than that, we might be making some serious pivots in the way that we present information, the way that we do content. Portrait mode is going to stay. I'm sticking with this for right now. I hope that you like it. I hope that you appreciate it. We might freshen up the frame or something like that. Might move me up here so that I'm like in the sky, like, and just kind of moving around like this the whole time just to mess with you. I'm not going to do that. I was just kidding. But, we might move that around a little bit, might tighten up some of the angles, et cetera, et cetera. But I like the portrait mode. I think this is, I think this is really good, in fact. So we're going to, maybe put more bleaves on the screen or something like that. A little better position. Whatever. Anyway, that's the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. The best thing that you can do if you want to help me, become a member of the channel. It's $4.99 a month. If not, then share my content with other people. Want to get a few more people coming in, paying attention, letting me blah, 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 blah my way through all of this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And we'll see what happens. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right.